So you're thinking about moving out here to beautiful Orange County, but you have no idea where you want to live.
Yeah, where do I go?
Where do you go? There's so many different parts of Orange County. So what we're going to do in this video is, Sean has been spending his many years since he turned to be an adult.
Since he was a wee lad.
Since you were a wee lad, talking to people about what they're looking for. So we're going to go over some of the more common scenarios that Sean gets confronted with when people call him and they're like, well, I want this, I want to be near Los Angeles, or I want to be near the beach, or I want a big house, I want gated. So we're going to go over all of these little scenarios, and maybe it'll help you figure out where should you hone in on your search when you're thinking about moving out here to Orange County. But before we go into the scenarios, let's just do a little overview first with a little map. And we do have many map videos on this channel, so subscribe to this channel if you want to check those out.
Well, that's important because some people in our nation don't have maps.
People out there in our nation don't have maps.
But yeah, so Orange County is rather small. It's sandwiched in between Los Angeles County and San Diego County, and then obviously the Inland Empires to the east of us. Rather small little county, and we kind of divide it into different little sections. We have what is known as the South County, so that's kind of like the famous city of Irvine and South, really known for all the master plan communities, a park on every corner, the very highly ranked school districts. Not that there aren't other places in Orange County that have highly ranked school districts, because that's kind of what Orange County is famous for.
Yeah.
But then you get kind of, central Orange County, which is more like your Costa Mesas, Santa Ana's, Fountain Valleys, those kind of cities. So that's more centrally located. And then you have North County, what we call North County, and that's really the cities that are bordering Los Angeles.
Yeah, and you mentioned coastal?
Oh yeah, duh. How could I forget that? That's what Orange County is most famous for, the coast. You have the coastal cities. So you have San Clemente to the south, and then you have Dana Point, Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, and Seal Beach. So those are our coastal cities.
And I think we should even make another category of the Irvine area. Because
that's true.
Because people, we get a lot, hey, you people have spoken and mentioned that you're interested in Irvine, so obviously we want to give the people what they're looking for. So before we continue, I'm Sean Dezad.
And I'm Courtney Dezad, and we are licensed real estate agents here in the beautiful state of California.
And if you're watching this channel, you might be thinking, wow, Sean, I love Orange County, I love the glitz, I love the glamour, I love this incredible, perfect weather. I can't wait to move out here now, but the problem is I'm not local, I may be out of state, I may be even out of the country, so I don't know what to do. And I totally get that. That's why you want to reach out to us so we can have that conversation, really find out what you're specifically looking for and be your boots on the ground. And also I work with a team, so it's not just me. So we have people that are always available for you. So that way we can show you properties at any time, day or night, provided the owner doesn't care. And that way you can really get a good feel of what's going on in the area. So what you want to do is you want to give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us, or you can use WhatsApp if you're coming from outside the country. Yes, Irvine. So since Sean is mentioning it, because we get so many calls about Irvine, Irvine is truly world famous. It's in the news all the time, and we actually are in Irvine right now. We are at Mason Park in Irvine, very beautiful. It's in the news for, its safety ratings, it's in the news for its school district. So, Sean, when somebody calls you and they are interested in Irvine, what do you say to them? How do you sort of like,
Sure. Well, the first thing I say is, I ask is, well, why? Like, what is it about Irvine that you're wanting to be in Irvine for? Is it because you have a job that's there, or is it because the schools? Is it because of what you've just heard about the city? It's also general proximity to everything because it is very centrally located. Why did Irvine come into your mind as part of the place to live? Because that, obviously that points us to a lot of different directions. Because if it's, obviously if it's just you want to be in general proximity to Irvine, okay, there's actually cities around it that actually give you a lot of what Irvine has to offer, as well as the city of Irvine itself, of course. But we want to give you options here. We don't want to just pigeonhole you to just one thing. Because again, that's kind of how we're priding ourselves, is the fact that we have a good general knowledge of all of Orange County, and I'm not beholden to just one neighborhood. I'm not super niched down to one neighborhood. It's more like, okay, or one city for that matter. It's more like, okay, well, what do you need? Let me point you to cities and areas that kind of offer that for you. So for instance, if you're looking for Irvine, okay, if you want to just be proximity because of jobs or whatever, then okay, let's look at Tustin, let's look at Costa Mesa, let's look at Aliso Viejo, let's look at Lake Forest, let's look at Laguna Hills. These are areas that are in general proximity, they're basically the neighboring cities of Irvine that could actually accomplish a lot of what you're looking for and offer a lot of similar attributes to what Irvine has to offer as far as having, in general, again, look at niche.com, but there's opportunities for schools if that's an important thing for you that are highly rated and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how I would direct people, like going, okay, let's do our search, but let's kind of make a little band around this Irvine area and kind of work on that.
Yeah, and it's not to say, you know, Sean's clients have never bought in Irvine. Of course they have. I mean,
Yeah.
Irvine is very popular. It's just that there may be other cities that work better for you, or
Yeah.
maybe it could be a budget thing, because obviously budget is a huge consideration when you're talking about a place like Orange County, which is very, very expensive, and Irvine is definitely on the higher side for Orange County. Sean likes to say that, you know, people that he's talked to and even shown houses to, they sometimes get a little bit of a sticker shock about how far their dollar does not stretch in Irvine.
Exactly. So it's one of those things where let's give you options that are out there. I mean, Irvine may be the actual perfect spot, but at the same time, let's look at a couple other things. I don't want to pigeonhole you just to one particular neighborhood of one particular city. Let's kind of expand our horizons here.
Yeah. So now let's talk about places in Orange County that do and do not have HOAs, because sometimes a homeowners association or an HOA could be a big reason why someone does or does not like an area. So
as far as, like, let's say if you were interested in HOAs, because you, again, which I don't mind, right? So I'm ambivalent. I'm like fine with HOAs. I'm fine not having an HOA. I understand why the draw to an HOA is the fact that you obviously have community amenities a lot of times. You obviously have, also it keeps things more consistent.
It's manicured for you.
Yeah, and it's more consistent. You don't
Yeah.
have like that eyesore of a home and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, with like 4 stories, all these add-ons.
Or like the overgrown, like,
Yeah.
you know, lawn, so that kind of stuff, right? Whereas, for instance, like, you know, with your non-HOAs, it's no holds barred. Like it's all over the place potentially.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's going to be a disaster, because there's plenty of neighborhoods that don't have HOAs that are very nice, but at the same time, you know, it's just that there's less consistency with those.
Yeah.
So, but if you're looking for HOAs, obviously, as we alluded to, Irvine is HOA central. So Irvine, South Orange County in general have that reputation. There are some pockets within all that don't have HOAs, so you want to reach out to us if you want to still live in those areas but not be in an HOA. But, like, you know, I would kind of point you to that. A lot of North County is kind of a little bit on the older side, so therefore you don't have as much. Not to say they don't exist, it's just that it's less frequent. So as a general rule of thumb, and obviously, like, you know, for instance, Newport Coast has HOAs, but a lot of Newport Beach itself does not, so it's all over the place. And of course, when we're talking about HOAs, it's going to be something where you're talking about detached homes, as far as this, because if it's a condo or townhome, you're going to have HOAs, because
no matter where you are.
Yeah, so because you're sharing the structure. But I was referring to more like detached single-family residences.
And since we are talking about HOAs, let's talk about new construction, which tends to be HOAs. Orange County is pretty much totally built out, but there are some areas that still have new construction. And we do have several videos about them, so subscribe if you are interested in new construction. But what are the main new construction areas?
Yeah, so for instance, Rancho Mission Viejo is kind of like this area that's being built. It's a census district, and it is being built to this day. So it's actually like new construction is taking place right now.
And where is it?
And Rancho Mission Viejo, again, you're definitely going a little south, right? Like south and slightly east. In fact, it's like, by how they're projecting to build it out, it's going to be built out to the San Diego County border, where it's actually, I think, even farther south than San Clemente, which is, I always thought that was farthest south city in Orange County, but apparently Rancho Mission Viejo has some other ideas in mind. So that's like a pretty big development there.
But we do have a video about that, a tour of Rancho Mission Viejo, if you are interested in that.
Yeah, and then on top of that, what you have, like, another like bigger development is the Great Parks. So basically, this is in Irvine. Yeah. So this is in Irvine, and it's odd because usually when you're talking about new construction, at least in Orange County, because so much of it's mature, that you're kind of going out to the outskirts. You're pushing the boundaries of Orange County itself. Great Parks is definitely not that at all. Actually, Great Parks is like right in the middle of everything. It's right by the Irvine Spectrum. It's right by the freeway. So it's kind of an amazing, interesting like scenario that unfolded. And the reason why that happened is it was a Marine Air Base that was decommissioned back in the 1990s. And there's all this land, and there was like obviously debate on what to do with it. And what ended up winning out was the Great Park. So this big, huge park surrounded by this new development of homes. And so there's literally thousands of dwellings being built around there. And so to this day, you know, like obviously there's a lot of stuff that's already been built, but there's still like new construction taking place as we speak. So there's like, you know, the Great Park area. And then like kind of on a smaller scale is another decommissioned Marine Air Base, right? That was actually in Tustin at the district area. So Tustin Legacy, I guess, is kind of what they kind of call that area. And that's a new construction that's taking place as we speak as well. And again, that's also centrally located too. So that's actually like, you know, surprisingly centrally located because there was something developed there before they decommissioned it and, you know, obviously like rebuilt. And then on top of that, you have, again, from there, it gets a little bit more
smaller.
Yeah, smaller, much smaller pocket developments. Like you have stuff in Yorba Linda, for instance, which is on the northern/eastern edge of Orange County.
Yeah.
And then you have just stuff like kind of sprinkled all over. But just, again, in general, those are your bigger pockets of development that are taking place currently.
Yeah. So another big question that Sean gets all the time is, I want to live in Orange County, but I have to go into Los Angeles, maybe even every day. Maybe you have a job there, but you don't want to live in Los Angeles. Where should I live? And we've had videos specifically on this. So again, subscribe to this channel because we have certain videos totally dedicated just to that. But let's just give a brief overview here of the LA commuter.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of depends on where in Los Angeles because it's such a big county, both by population and by landmass. So for instance, like if you're kind of more on the eastern Los Angeles side, like, you know, then you may be looking at like, let's say Yorba Linda, Anaheim Hills, Orange Park Acres, you know, like Brea, that kind of thing, and in Fullerton as well. So I would say like those are kind of your cities that will get you relatively reasonable commute because they're on the border of LA. And then if you're more like going kind of more coastal LA, like let's say towards downtown LA and that kind of stuff, you may be looking at more like Los Alamitos, Seal Beach, Huntington Beach for that matter, Rossmore, that like Placentia, that kind of stuff. So it really kind of depends on where, but those are kind of your pockets you want to focus in on. I mean, because I had people reach out, like they wanted to like buy, let's say in Rancho Mission Viejo, but they were going to commute to LA. I'm going, that's just really not a good idea because that is, again, unless everyone's got a different threshold for what they don't like for driving.
Although I feel like anyone would eventually have a psychotic break if they were driving from Rancho Mission Viejo to LA every day. I mean, I don't know. I personally would.
I mean, I know some people, like, again, you got some good audiobook going on, some podcasts going. Like,
it's only a matter of time. It's not an if, but when.
Some minutes, really?
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, I don't.
Minutes only.
Minutes only. So I would just say.
Where'd we get that from?
Oh yeah. We may have a clip. I don't know. Well, we'll see. It'll be Easter.
Yeah.
Pumps by your time, but minutes only.
But the thing is that, yeah, so it just kind of, so if you're liking the whole idea of South Orange County, again, you can get a lot of that in, let's say, the Yorba Linda, Anaheim Hills, kind of Brea area. You have actually, it's a lot of similar feel.
Oh yeah, because we were talking about new construction. So Brea, even though, because North County, sorry to interrupt Sean, but North County tends to be very much older than South County, like if people are looking for newer. But Brea is kind of weird. Yeah. And then it's like this newer city, like smack dab in the middle of North County.
Yeah, and so yeah, between Brea and Yorba Linda, you have stuff going on there. But yeah, so like you may, you know, so you may get a lot of what you were thinking about you're going to want in South County, but in like, let's say Yorba Linda, Anaheim Hills, or Brea, like, or even pockets of Fullerton too, to that extent. So it's just like, yeah, and actually it's funny because, you know, people talk about South County and like, or Irvine, and let's say one of the things is like, let's say drawing them as the schools. Well, you know, funny thing is that number 1 or 2, depending on when you look at these rankings, for the best public school in Orange County is Troy High School in Fullerton because it's right next to Cal State Fullerton, right? So again, it's just one of those things where there's always like little surprises that people just don't realize about it. So that's where I'm kind of going, okay, you know, whereabouts in LA even are you interested in, and maybe, and also what other attributes? Because yeah, you have these cities that border the LA County, but you still want to be in the orange bubble, which I completely appreciate because I don't like to go to LA if I don't have to. I mean, it's just one of those things I just don't care to do very often.
I hate LA, although I am actually going to LA today. And the only reason is because I have a friend who's a food critic and she's inviting me to a very expensive restaurant that is paid for.
And guess who's not invited?
Well,
this
it's
guy.
paid. It's
this
for
guy
her,
right here.
It's for her job.
Yeah.
That's the only way you'll get me in LA, or if I have to fly out to LAX. Otherwise, I will not go there.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It is tough to go into LA because you just feel like once you just cross that, like again, not that we don't have traffic here, it's just that once you just hit that LA border, it just seems like it gets so much worse. Yeah. And the streets get so much worse. Like it's just, again, it's older, right? So Orange County, even the older parts of Orange County are newer than a lot of LA counties. So again, it's just the infrastructure is just better. Like, again, that's a little side tangent, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then Sean, what if somebody calls you, and you do get a lot of calls for this, they want the beach, right? They want the beach living. So let's talk about this. So we can tell you about the different beach cities, which ones are insanely expensive, because there certainly are those, and then which ones are maybe a better value. And then let's talk about some of the cities that you can get that beach lifestyle without the beach prices, because there are some cities that you may not technically be in, like a coastal city in that it has beach land, but you're still able to smell the ocean, you can get ocean views and all that kind of stuff.
And actually, I'm gonna so one of my first questions I ask, and this is gonna allude to our next point as well, so a little teaser, but like one question I ask is, okay, well, how close do you want to be to the beach? Because a lot of times, I mean, I can tell you, like most of the time they're like, oh, within 30 minutes. That's like all of Orange County. Like, you know, so good news is that you can kind of accomplish that. So just so you know, like Orange County is not a very large by landmass.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's pretty narrow. So even the Yorba Lindas is probably about, give or take, about 30-ish minutes,
Yeah.
again, depending on traffic, of course,
Yeah.
but 30-ish minutes from the beach, potentially. Not parking and not traffic stuff, but, you know, you can get
As
there.
the Nazgul
Yeah,
flies.
exactly. But the thing is that you can get to and from Orange County pretty efficiently.
Yeah.
So now, like, let's say you're
Sorry, you can get to and from the beaches. You said
Yeah.
to and from Orange County.
Well, I mean,
You're
wherever
in.
within Orange County. I was
Yeah,
gonna
that's
say,
true. That's true. Yeah. So the beaches, yeah, pretty much everywhere you could live is about 30 minutes or
Give or take.
closer.
Yeah.
Or closer.
Yeah. And so the good news is that you're relatively close wherever you are. But let's say, okay, there's other caveats to that. Okay, they want that sea breeze and stuff like that. Okay, now it's getting us a little bit different. So now you want to be most likely on the coastal side of the 405 freeway, and then when the 405 and 5 freeways merge, the coastal side of the 5 freeway, like farther south. So that gets you more, okay, like that gets you obviously all the coastal cities. It gets you, like, let's say the Costa Mesas of the world. It gets you
Laguna Niguel.
Laguna Niguel. It gets you Aliso Viejo. It gets you part of San Juan Capistrano. So it gets even part of like Laguna Hills. So that's kind of where, like, you know, you're kind of getting that, and parts of Irvine actually.
Yeah,
You know, so
that's
parts
true.
of Irvine is also on the coastal side of the 405 freeway. So you have those options there. Now you want to be actually on the coast, and then maybe, okay, then I ask, well, okay, where on the coast? Because, you know, do you want to be by LA? Okay, so on the coast, you want to be probably Huntington Beach, Seal Beach, realistically. If you just want to be like, okay, obviously I'm biased in Newport Beach. Newport Beach is amazing. It depends on what your budget is and what you're looking for. But Laguna Beach is beautiful, but Laguna Beach is a little bit more secluded. So it's not so easy to get in and out of, and it's incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely beautiful. So I could totally see why people pay the big bucks to move there. And then Dana Point's actually a fascinating city. I love it. I think it's a super cute city, one of our unicorn cities that kind of offers a lot. But
offers a lot of value, because I feel like, so Newport, if you're talking about like sheer beauty, definitely like Laguna and Newport are known as the most beautiful beach cities. But what's weird is I feel like Dana Point is almost just as beautiful, but it's not anywhere near as expensive. Like, it almost gets forgotten, I feel like. It just doesn't have the fame that those two cities.
I mean, I personally feel like all the coastal cities are actually really beautiful, right? I mean, that coastline of California is just, you know, like second to none.
Yeah.
But basically, I would say that as far as, so Dana Point is really awesome. And also, it's actually, even though it's farther south than Laguna Beach, it's actually easier to get into and out of, because not only do you have the Pacific Coast Highway, which runs along the coast, right? But then on top of that, you also have the 5 freeway, which actually dips into, like, it kind of just hits like really close to the coastline as well right there. Actually, the 5 freeway and Pacific Coast Highway actually kind of come together, like right by where like Dana Point is. So it's not actually that hard to get in and out of for, again, a coastal city. So it's one of those things to kind of keep in mind. And then as you go farther south, then you have San Clemente, which another beautiful city. It's just that I would say the knock on it is that it's kind of out of the way.
Yeah.
Because it's a further south coastal city. And beyond it, you have San Onofre and Camp Pendleton to the south. So there's like nothingness for a good 20-25 minutes between from San Clemente to the first real San Diego city, which is Oceanside. And then to the north, obviously, you're just going north, you know, you're just going farther and farther north. So, but some people really like it, right? So that's where, you know, that kind of just depends.
Sorry to interrupt, but San Onofre, we should say, is a decommissioned nuclear power plant, and then Camp Pendleton is a marine base. So it's just
a huge one.
Yeah, it's just open land. So there's nothing there.
Yeah, there's just not, there's not, you're not stopping, like, there's not much activity to do. Well, except for surfing, right? I mean, obviously you have trestles, you have that there, like right in San Onofre, so that's a really big surf spot. So it's really just kind of, honestly, at the end of the day, just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But obviously, we would get more granular with our conversations, but this is just giving you a lay of the land as far as the coastal cities.
Yeah, and then in terms of budget, Newport Beach and Laguna Beach, definitely
far and away
the most expensive. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah.
And then the other beach cities
are much more reasonable in relation.
In relation, yeah. Not to say they're reasonably priced, because they're certainly not if you're comparing them to like the median home price of the United States.
But they're actually cheaper than Irvine. Irvine.
Yeah, some of them are, yes.
Actually, I would say most of them are. As far as median price points, all the other coastal cities, I would say, are like at or below Irvine's median price point. So, which again throws people off because they think of, you know, again, coastal cities inherently being more expensive. But again, that's just the demand that Irvine has.
Yeah. So another big feature that people often ask Sean for is they want a gated community. So what are some of the more popular gated communities or areas that have a lot of gated?
Yeah, and I'll say areas because obviously within all these cities there's something that's gated. So I don't want to like,
for sure.
That's just gonna be kind of crazy. But like, let's just talk about bigger swaths of development. So like for instance, Coto de Caza, let's kind of start farther south. So Coto de Caza itself is like the entire census district was what they call it. It's not a city, it's a census district. All 5,100 homes are basically in the gated community of Coto de Caza.
Guard gated.
Yeah, guard gated. So which is pretty cool. So some people, if you're looking for that, pretty amazing. Like that's really nice to have for like that big of a swath, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then if you're going actually like, let's say Newport Coast, pretty much every community within, not all of them, but like most of the communities within Newport Coast, which is a pretty big section of Newport Beach itself, is gated. You know, they're within gated communities within there.
Yeah.
And then as far as, actually surprisingly, Irvine does not have as much gated. It's just, you know, there are spots like Shady Canyon does, of course, and parts of Turtle Ridge do, but in general, Irvine is just not really known for gated, just for whatever reason. So that kind of throws people off too, because they want
Northwood Point has.
Yeah, Northwood Point, and obviously like Orchard Hills kind of has some stuff too. It's just honestly, it's kind of one of those things where when someone asks me about Irvine and they're wanting gated, I'm like, okay, we're really narrowing your search because there's just not a lot of it in Irvine. Just being real, it's just kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And as far as generally large gated, you're not finding a ton of it. Like again, you'll have it within like some communities within all these cities have gated, but it's just one of those things where if you're looking for like the bigger sections of it, like those are the ones I was kind of like that come to mind.
Yeah, and then what about if you want a bigger home? Like some people, they come from maybe the Midwest or something, and they want like they live outside of, I don't know, maybe they live outside of New York or something, and they want like a big home, a big lot.
What's their budget?
What's their budget?
That's a big question because I've had people kind of going, I literally had someone call me, they're going, I have like a 7,000 square foot home and it's like for 3 people and we're looking for something similar in size, and I'm going, okay, well, what? Oh, and their budget was certainly not enough to cover what they were going to find in Orange County. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, one, I don't know how 3 people fill up a 7,000 square foot home. I mean, that's pretty impressive. But at the same time, it's like you don't find huge homes. You don't find basements here as well. So I think so when people are calculating square footage, they're also calculating basements. We don't have basements here. Like you know, there are some pockets. I mean, there are some homes that do, but it's such an exception to the rule. Like, so don't count on basements as far as additional storage and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so what are some of the areas that
kind of known for bigger homes?
Depending on your budget, of course, because obviously a big home in Orange County is gonna tend to be more expensive. Like, so
big homes, big lots, like, you know, you think of almost more equestrian type stuff. Not exclusively, of course, but like, for instance, you have your Yorba Lindas of the world. You have Orange Park Acres, which is, you know, this section of Orange. North Tustin, which is a census district. You have also Coto de Caza has bigger homes. The lot sizes vary, but like, you know, the Coto de Caza is known for bigger homes. Newport Coast is certainly known for bigger homes, although that's going to cost you a pretty penny. Like that one is like crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But again, if you're interested in Newport Coast, let us know, because obviously we'll certainly, like any of these homes, honestly, but like, yeah, so Newport Homes, the coast. San Juan Capistrano actually is known for some bigger homes, actually.
True.
So,
yeah.
And then within Laguna Hills, like Nellie Gale is a big community, an equestrian community that actually tends to have large lots and large homes, that kind of thing. So I'd say like those are the ones in general that I'm kind of thinking of mostly, like, you know, that kind of come to mind.
And then let us not forget the most common question that you get. I want to be near Disneyland. Where should I live?
Yeah, they're like, someone actually reaches out to me. They're going, I want to live in Anaheim. I'm going, okay, why? I mean, like, not, you know, like why Anaheim in particular? And then they said, because I want to be next to Disneyland. I'm going, you know, are you going to Disneyland literally every day? Like, is this like a work thing, or is this just like more of a pleasure thing? And, you know, so everyone's kind of different about Disneyland as far as like, if it's just a pleasure, like, you know, you just do it for fun and you're going sometimes, one, I'll spoiler alert, unless you have a season pass, you're probably not going out there as much as you think you will be. But secondly is that you don't have to live in Anaheim to go to Disneyland rather frequently, because like we've talked about, like everything's about 30 minutes away from each other. Again, if Anaheim works for you, fantastic. I mean, no, I have nothing against Anaheim at all. It's just that I want to give you options. And so if you're just wanting to be near Disneyland, there's so many different cities around there that you could go to that, again, are within a relatively close proximity, that are options that you might want to hold, like take into account beyond just Anaheim. So you have your Anaheim Hills. Honestly, Yorba Linda is not that far away. Fullerton's not that far away. Buena Park, if you're interested, even Huntington Beach to an extent. I mean, it's you're kind of, so you have,
even Irvine.
Yeah. Irvine's not that far away. Yeah, I mean, it's like the whole central northern swath of Orange County is pretty close to Disneyland. So you're kind of pretty well set.
Well, and we always like to say, even if you lived in San Clemente, like San Clemente, which is the most southern city in Orange County, even if you lived in San Clemente, it's only about 35 minutes without traffic. So let's say you go on like a Tuesday or something, because honestly, who wants to go to Disneyland on the weekends? It would take you 35 minutes to get to Disneyland. So you truly could live anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So don't pigeonhole yourself to just Anaheim at the end of the day if you're looking to be next to Disneyland. People love Disneyland, but at the same time, you don't have to live right next door to it. And remember, we are licensed realtors here in the state of California, so as much as we love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us, or you can use WhatsApp if you're coming from outside the country. And let us know down below, where are you coming from? We always love to hear everybody's story and why they're coming out here to Orange County.